Let's continue with our history lesson here and let's talk about our legacy stuff. All right. Serial ports, right? We were just talking about that's an old port. We really don't use it much anymore. It is typically a DB9 or a 9-pin port. I will tell you there is also, if you go way back, serial ports were also a male DB25 port. Okay, but it's been a long time since we've seen that. Again, this is what a serial cable would look like. Now, please be careful because it looks very similar to what a VGA video cable looks like in the sense that the way the connector is designed and the fact that it's blue, the actual connector itself is blue, you want to be real careful. But a VGA connector is actually a 15-pin port. It's 3 rows of 5. Okay, I know it seems weird. It's like, how do they fit that in the same space? But they do. And we'll take a look at that in a different lesson. But here we have the DB9, and notice that the connector on the cable itself is a female connector, whereas the port itself is a male port. We would use a serial cable in the old days to hook up an external modem, and I'm talking about a good old-fashioned dial-up modem, like a Hayes 56K modem. We don't really see that much anymore. Believe it or not, it was one of the original ports that we would plug mice into. Or is it really called mice if you're talking plural, but in the computer term, or is it mouses? That's a big debate a lot of people have. But anyway, we did plug mice or mouses in via a serial port connection way back when we first started using this thing called a mouse. The one thing that I would say we still use the serial port today is to hook up a console. And it's not so much that you'll hook up a console to the computer, but very often on certain different networking devices that don't have a typical monitor of their own. Now, again, it's a little bit of a history lesson, but we do still see it a little bit today. If you cannot manage these devices over the network, via Ethernet, what you do is you actually use a serial cable to plug the device over into the computer and have the computer then act as a terminal or a console to go ahead and manage the device. Now, when you actually get in and look at the literal ports from an operating system perspective, your serial ports are what's referred to as COM ports. And by default, typically there is COM 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, this may seem weird because it's like, wait a minute, I don't see 4 serial cables in the back. Again, it's because we're still looking at things the way they were done in the old days. What you can actually do is you can assign, and I don't want to go too deep into this because it's old stuff, but you can assign any one of the 4 logical COM ports to be associated with the one physical serial port in the back of the computer if you only have the one.